we are witnessing one of the most extraordinary scenes I have ever seen.
Hop on board the world's largest safari vehicle as we track down Africa's most iconic animals on our daily live shows.
This is crazy.
Captivating characters, breathtaking beauty, and daily drama.
Artwork, $1 million card. How insane is that animal?
Only on Wild Earth. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Jumbo. Very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon safari. All I'll dedicate to you is welcome to this afternoon's live safari. A very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon safari. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Bungei. We have a rhino we'd like to share with you before it disappears. It's somewhere off to my right. We'll be seeing it shortly. Can't tell exactly where it has gone to. It's such a big animal, but it can quickly disappear in your front of your eyes. I cannot believe this, There he is. Yeah, looks like he's heading out into the open plains. A very good start to this afternoon safari. Black rhino, one of the most endangered species of animals that we have. What a find. I know he won't be there for very long, but I'm so happy that I get to share him with you. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Questions and comments are really, really welcome. Cooking Fat, good afternoon, and Jumbo. Yes, the horn is quite massive. Well, these are browsers, a very shy animal, lives in dense thicket and bush, and that's where it is disappearing to. Just like it appeared, it has disappeared, just like a ghost, as you can see. We rarely get to see them because they love very quiet times, very hidden areas. And this one I was very lucky to have spotted him from a distance. I have followed him for a little bit. It's a pity that he's gone, but it is evident that we have black rhinos here in the Masai Mara. Well, it's a beautiful afternoon that we have here. It's quite warm, around 29 degrees Celsius. And looks like we might have some rain. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Questions and comments are really, really welcome. I'm gonna continue on, see if I can find something else for you, but that was rather very rushed. But what to do? Nature gives you whatever is possible. Well, I'm gonna continue on, and as I do this, let me take you to another one of live safari vehicles.
Good afternoon and welcome to this other side of the Mara. From the black rhino to our lioness that was hunting this morning. Now the price has been paid. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. There's lots of zebras and wildebeest right about there. But this morning earlier, this lioness was with her sister about 300 meters from here. She looks like she was talking then. But we came out later, she was not there. But look at her right now, she's already got herself a prize. This is so interesting. She has not yet eaten it all, but just a little piece. She's watching over those wildebeest and zebra. Is she thinking of whether to go there or not? Sometimes, even though lions have kill, they might decide to go for the second opportunity. I've seen lions going after wildebeest 3-4 times. She is with her sister. Sister just on the shade there. She's the one that is watching the zebras there and the wildebeest. Not quite sure if they did it. Samia, thank you for your question. An adult lion can eat about 35 kilos on a sitting. A lioness can eat about 22 kilos on a sitting. That is so much. So this wildebeest weighs about 120 kilos. So if it's about 4 lions here, or 5, then it will be finished by within 3 hours, or 2 hours. She's now beginning. She's twisted it, turned it around. They start from the softer tissues. Sometimes they begin with the groin, sometimes on the armpit there. You can hear her teeth slicing through the skin. I'm quite happy for this lion because she tried about 3 days consecutively without success. But today, this afternoon, she's finally won it. She might decide to either drag it to shade or carry on eating from there. Maybe the sister might decide to join. But as we wait here watching this lion eat, let's take you over to another safari vehicle.
So coming from that quite interesting sighting you were just watching with that lioness and a kill, we've got quite an interesting sighting here at and beyond Pinda as well. You can see this huge amount of vulture activity just sitting on the ground. And in this case, it's not actually due to a kill. It's just due to the vultures having a bath. My name is Kim, and behind the camera we have Craig, and we will be with you this afternoon. So this might be one of the first times I've actually seen a huge amount of vultures just resting on the ground with no carcass around. You can actually see quite a few of them are even lying down, which is quite interesting. Very interesting behavior. A few of them, as you can see, that one is now grooming itself. It's just spread its wing out, and it's actually just taking its bill and taking little parasites and little bits of dirt out of those wings. And I think what's happened is it's a very hot day here at and beyond Pinda, and there's a little pool of water right in front of them. And I think what these vultures have done in this hot day is come down, probably given themselves a bit of a bath, and are now trying to dry out in the sun and just busy pruning and cleaning their wet feathers. It's quite amazing to actually see something like this. I don't know if many of our viewers have seen this before. You can also see on the right they've got an Egyptian goose that's joined the party. Perhaps it's a case of mistaken identity. Yeah, he's just sitting there spending quite a bit of time with these vultures. You can see that one on the far right. Actually, it's quite amazing when you see all those feathers fluffed out, trying to get as much sun and dry them out as quickly as possible. You can imagine it makes it quite difficult for these birds, especially something like a vulture. It's a very, very heavy bird, so they don't want to have to fly with wet wings. It takes quite a lot of energy for them to fly and get into trees, and so as a result they need to just make sure they're in sort of the best condition to do that. You can see that one in the middle is actually fluffing itself out now. Again, trying to get gaps in those feathers just so it can clean itself a little bit better. In front of this watering hole, we actually got some, looks like red-breasted swallows flying over and just getting some water in their mouths. Beautiful. Amazing how you can see that there's a huge amount of different behavior with the different changes in season. I mean, a lot of the animals we've seen as we've driven past here have all been lying in the shade. We saw some warthogs wallowing in the mud, so everyone's trying to do what they can to keep cool right now, you know, including these vultures that have had this little bath. So these vultures, sorry, I haven't even identified them for you. They are whiteback vultures. And it's difficult to see why they're called whiteback vultures looking at them here. They do, actually there's that one who's opened up its feathers a bit and it can actually give us a gleam of that white back. It looks like they're starting to take off now. You see how they're all standing. The one actually just hopped off and it's quite an interesting flight. You might get a chance to see if you, there we go. Give it a bit of a running start. You can see that hopping along. Beautiful. And you can see actually the amount of energy and effort it's taking for them to sort of carry that very heavy body weight off. It's amazing that they seem to be taking turns, not all going at one time. And I can imagine it's got something to do with the wingspan. You know, if they all suddenly went off and flew at the same time, it would be quite difficult for them to actually, you know, very often they would knock each other over. So they seem to be timing it pretty perfectly. That one on the ground's a bit late to the party. Yes, this is a beautiful scene right now. As they finish sort of taking off, hopefully we can get a view. There we go, panning out. We can try and get a view of some of them right in the sky.
Good afternoon and welcome to the western fringes of the Greater Kruger National Park. We've got a little pod of hippos that was almost out of the water when we got here and now has decided that they are going to ridicule us and in so doing find the afternoon very amusing. That's what was going on there. They were laughing heartily at embarrassing us. Hello, my name is James Hendry. On camera today we've got Paul. They weren't really laughing at us, obviously. They were doing a little that's what they sounds like. We all know somebody who laughs like that, but that's not what the hippos were doing. It is a glorious afternoon here after the foulness of the last few days, weather-wise, I mean. I'm thoroughly enjoying the feeling of the sun on my skin. Our plan is to head towards the eastern side of the reserve and see if we can't pick up some sign of the Nkuhuma pride from yesterday. We didn't find any tracks of theirs this morning on foot, or certainly no fresh ones. And so we'll try and unravel the mystery of whether or not the pride reunited, possibly at that buffalo kill. Then we also have, if you don't mind them, Paul, the grey heron that seems to have taken up residence here. It's doing a little wander down the shoreline, hoping to find itself a nice frog to eat. Yum, yum. I'm glad I don't have to stick my face into this water. It's very pleasant to look at, but You don't want to be putting your face in here. There's not a lot of through flow, which means the longer it sits here, the more dung accumulates from various creatures in it. Although that would have been diluted slightly by the amount of rain we had over the last little while, probably around about 35 millimeters, I reckon. You can probably hear the gentle breeze blowing out of the north and the twittering and semi-angry squittering sound being made by the red-billed buffalo weavers. So far, not a great deal of building activity from the other weavers in this part of the world. I'm sure the hippos are enjoying their swim, as is the grey heron enjoying his lunch. So we'll head off towards the northern boundary and then out towards the east.
Hippos are lovely to watch. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Tswalu. This giraffe has decided to hide behind the bushes, but we will get a little view. And good afternoon, my name is Kyle. Welcome to Tswalu. Behind camera is Mr. Glenn. Hello, Glenn. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a very sunny and warm day here at Tswalu. This beautiful southern giraffe is just taking it easy. Get a little nibble. We've got some springbok in the distance there as well. A lovely day it is. We're going to go down south and we're going to see if we can pick up on mother and three. We haven't had them for a couple of days. Tswalu is so vast that if you don't follow up on the animal every single day, they're bound to move into an area where the tracks get disturbed by either wind or rain or other animals. And so we haven't seen them for about a week and a little bit now. And today is the day we're going to go down south to see if we can locate those gorgeous, gorgeous animals. I've also done my homework from yesterday. We ID'd a beautiful dragonfly at the pan yesterday. And let me just grab this quickly. And doing my homework last night, it is a new species for me. Oh, they're in the road, Glenn. Fantastic. It's a beautiful little springbok crossing the road. Oh, well, there was a springbok crossing the road. There it comes. Yes. Good afternoon. And yeah, so looking at that beautiful dragonfly yesterday, that everybody that joined us, and if you didn't, we had a beautiful dragonfly at the water's edge yesterday, at a pan to the east, and we managed to get quite a good view of it. But just so that everybody knows, if Glenn, you can punch in over here, we were looking at it and we focused, somebody asked a question with the two little red appendages at the end of the abdomen. So if you look at these dragonflies, you can see the eyes are touching one another, and then as well as the wings being horizontal, not together. But if you look at the claspers, look how the claspers, these end appendages, are different within this dragonfly family. So it looked like two broad wings that we saw yesterday, which is fairly easy to go through it. So it is part of the larger species of dragonfly. So we're using color, we're using the wing panels, and as well as the claspers. But if you take a look at our video yesterday, and as well as our photo, there's the red claspers that we saw yesterday, dark red, and then one distinctive patch is that beautiful blue patch right over there. Vagrant Emperor, which is a brand new species for me. Oh, there we go. So defining factors is that little red spot or red claspers along with this blue patch on the thorax section. But fantastic to ID some new species of insect like that. We're going to send you off to another amazing location and we'll see you in a bit.
Dragonfly plays an important role in an ecosystem, and it's actually interesting how dragonfly can fly a very long direct from their migration. Now here in the Mara we have Alanis. She's still devouring that carcass. It just began. I am suspecting that she might have killed this about 40 minutes ago, because when I got here, it was still intact. Could still no blood stain, but just a slight bit of where she had started to eat. They start behind, or beginning with the hind legs, where it's a bit softer. Terry, thank you for your question. Lions only eat the very soft edges of the rib cage, but then the rest is left of they just pull out a chunk of meat that is on the rib cage, but then the rest is left for the hyenas and the vultures. Only the softer bone tissue that are eaten by the lions, because it's actually adjoined with some meat or some flesh, but the rest of the rib cage is eaten by the hyenas. Can you imagine? She stayed for about 3 days hunting with fail, with no success. But today the price has been paid. The sister has not yet joined. There were 3 working together last night. They tried hunting, but it failed. So I think this will take them another 3 or 4 days, because we only see them. The Lolo have around 18 lions, but we only see some split up into 3s and 4s. So this lioness with a collar always walks alongside with the 2 other lionesses. It's still warm, so the hyenas are not yet here, but if they sniff this, they'll definitely want to come and join. So it will be interesting to see the behavior or what will happen next. Vultures still haven't seen this, so when they start soaring up, of course that will attract hyenas, and possibly other lion from the same family might want to come and investigate what the vultures have seen. So this is so interesting. I'm going to still stay here, watch this. How wonderful it is to just come on a drive and find lions eating. It's so cool. So this lioness was mating about 5 days ago, and presumably maybe she might be pregnant. So it's going to take her about 3.5 months before she can separate herself from the rest of the pride and go somewhere where she can give birth. But during that time, she'll always be hunting by herself, because there's more. You're quite right, yes. All this by herself. What a big meal. I'll be interested to see if the other pride members will join. Oh, look at her tearing the skin. She's already punctured the stomach, so the gas that was in the stomach was let off. Still looking at the zebras and wildebeest. So interesting is that if an opportunity arises again, she might be tempted to go and take one down. Look at her, how she's looking at them, wondering if she can go there. She's still panting heavily. Seems like she's the one that took this down. The softer tissues and the blood make them regain their energy. So she's actually licking the skin to make it soft.
We give it before I say something.
25 past now. 2 minutes. Probably even 2 and 8.
Oh yes, it's also true. My father is phoning me.
We're live. Our lion is still on her keel. It seems like she's super hungry. Look at how she keeps on twisting and turning that carcass from the stomach there. Now she's gone to the groin. I think she wants to get into this flesh as soon as possible because she keeps on looking around. And because we are not far from a hyena den here, probably might take a little bit of time before she finishes this, so she needs to eat as much as she can. But we have a sister who is on guard, watching over some wildebeest and zebra. I can't tell you how patient this lioness was, because in the morning I found her about 300 meters from here, and now it's about over 8 hours. She was still within this radius, and her price has been paid off. Sometimes, if they fail hunting, they will just go near a waterhole. Yes, thank you so much for your question. This caller will be present on this lioness for about 6 or 8 months, depending on how the data has been collected. So this caller transmits about every 2 minutes or every about 2 hours data towards a transmitter that is somewhere with the research team. So until they've recorded all the data from her movement, interaction with other lions in the prides, so it will take about 6 to 8 months before they remove it. I'll also be keen to see how far she gets every 3 days, every 3 to 4 days, to see if she walks out of the pride territory or if she walks out of the conservation area. I'll also be keen to learn more about her movement. I'm going to sit here, wait, and watch if the sister will come and what will happen next as we take you over to another safari vehicle.
This tortoise, since we've been with him, has covered quite a distance of some, I don't know, 40 meters or so. Anyway, he's a leopard tortoise, just gently going about his business, enjoying his day, looking for delicious forbs to eat. Maybe the odd mushroom, but unlikely. He's almost exclusively a herbivore, is the leopard tortoise. And I don't know if you can see there, but there are 2 big dents in his carapace, and that indicates that he has experienced some kind of nasty injury at some stage during his life. But he's okay. And I would ordinarily have got out and picked it up and brought it over here and showed you and touched it, and that was until I learned that A, they void their bowels, or a bursa sac inside that holds water, and from which they derive hydration, so you can dehydrate them if you pick them up. And also, they can actually feel it when you touch their shells, apparently, and it can be quite painful. So you don't touch them at all anymore. And so we just have to observe them. And when they walk off at great speed like this one is doing, well, then that's all we can do. And in fact, he has gone so far away now that we can no longer see him. We are on the eastern boundary, and Paul is scanning the horizon for the Nkuhuma Pride, but I'm afraid I have seen absolutely no sign of them at this stage. But we'll keep on searching. This is where we had them last night. We had the most wonderful sighting of them just on the grass over there. We're just checking our radios, making sure they're working. Alrighty, they are still working. Good news. Okay, here are some impala. Let's have a look at them. They are standing actually exactly where the lions were yesterday. Hello, you like my head? Let's have a look at the impala. The leopard tortoise is able to certainly excavate a little bit when they need to go underground for the winter. But normally they won't dig an enormous hole, as far as I'm aware. The Speke's hinge tortoise seems to be a slightly more accomplished digger, and they also have a much thinner shape, and so they don't need to dig such a big hole. I would suggest that leopard tortoises probably do to a certain extent, but it's more a modification of an existing hole or depression than it is an actual excavation. Big bachelor herd here. All the boys together. All the boys are together because the girls are about to give birth. And these chaps will live in contentment with each other until May next year, whereupon they'll hate each other again. Lovely sounds all around, beautiful birds. Nancy, the horns are bone inside, and so yes, there are blood vessels and there are nerves, so they're innervated and vasculated. I don't think they're particularly sensitive, otherwise they would be pretty ineffectual as weapons, and if you've ever seen an impala fighting, you'll know that they clatter into each other and then tear at each other. They try and hook each other's horns. So, yes, they definitely are innervated and they definitely have blood vessels in them, but I don't think they hurt a great deal, unless they're torn off, in which case they probably hurt a lot. But I don't think they're very sensitive. That keratin sheath probably also, which isn't innervated or vasculated, that keratin sheath that fits over the top of the horns probably also protects the horn from excruciating pain when they clatter into each other. I'm sure it hurts a little bit, but it can't hurt too much. Otherwise they wouldn't fight. Right, I'm still going to try and unravel the mystery of the missing Nkuhuma pride.
Impalas are so interesting to watch, especially when there's a big harem and the males trying to herd the females. Now back to our lioness. She is still on her kill. I tell you what, she has not even raised her head. She's carrying on eating and eating. She looks like she might have been super hungry. I can just hear her cannon slicing through that flesh. Hopefully maybe the sister will join, because it looks like she's still seated and lying on. So with this, in this time of the year, you find that these lions go into a feast because there's lots of game. It's so nice. I'm going still to sit here and watch these lioness devour this carcass. how nice to see this, because you don't often see this pride just after they kill. The last time I saw them eating was a long time, but I'm sure sometimes they get to kill when we are not around, or maybe in the bushes where we can hardly see them. So I think the other two sisters will come, and if not, she will carry on eating, go to take a rest while guarding this carcass. I was just listening to how she was slicing this carcass. So at least Rosalind, thank you so much for your question. The biggest kill that this lioness has taken down is an eland. So I once watched her before she was mounted this collar on. They came across a herd of eland, and one of the eland was actually sitting down. And before the eland could notice, she was up on her throat. So I think that's the biggest kill I've ever seen this lion take down. Can you hear that? Her cannons slicing through the skin and the flesh. She's a super strong lioness, and I'm sure this will at least take her for about 3-4 days before she goes for her next meal anytime after that.
Yes, kazi mwana binadamu. Well, I am here with a very big herd of wildebeest that has decided to use their forelegs to get out of this area. I don't know what happened. They got spooked and they are on the run. As you can see, sometimes for no reason, they will just decide to run, like you can see. And blindly, sometimes they can run into lions, but it's typical of them to do this. And sometimes they run into holes, so break their legs. It looks those are the draggers, not in a rush, maybe much more experienced. It's typical for them, for them to run in single files like this. And that's why when you fly over the Masai Mara, you think it's vehicles that are from trucks everywhere, but some places it is wild beast and a zebra. That is a good number, maybe 2,000 of them, and they're heading out of the upper side of the swamp. Maybe they have a place they think it's safer. That is their mentality, and that's where they're headed. Maybe they could be very, very, very wrong. One of them might get killed, for the rest to survive. It is normal. Remember, this is part of the annual migration that happens once a year, lasts about 3 months. It has been prolonged due to localized rains that we've been getting. I'm not complaining, I'm very appreciative, but it tells you that nature has got a pattern that we can never understand, and they have stayed here a little bit longer. They're quite a long way from the border, and so it will take them a few weeks to get there, to cross over to the Serengeti. But already many of these are carrying the young ones, like they're pregnant, I would say, because a lot of mating has just happened here in the Masai Mara. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Questions and comments are really, really welcome. That is the scene that is set by nature. As you can see, beautiful, beautiful background of dotted trees, Looks a little bit hazy, like somebody was burning somewhere, but I doubt it because it's been raining, so it's just mist. Megan, thank you for your, comment. Going for a casual walk or jog. Yeah, maybe the early afternoon jog, maybe. Could be. Remember, these guys are very, very fit. I call them the athletes of the plains. Because can you imagine walking 500 kilometers in a few months? Walking, running. You are never in one spot for more than 20 minutes. You're constantly on the move. I think they must be also tough to eat. I wonder why lions always go for them, but maybe that exercise makes them, tasty. I don't know. But they're always on the move. They never get tired. They're just resilient in getting to a spot that is never there, because they get somewhere and they want to go somewhere. So they're always going somewhere. It's hard to understand the wildebeest. I'm still trying to really understand wildebeest, but I don't think you'll ever understand, because they always have a mind of their own. Like right now, there is no reason to go anywhere. There is plenty of water. There is plenty of grass. Why go anywhere? But they are wildebeest. I'm gonna move on, get closer to them. This area was full of them, about an hour ago, but they have left, and I'm going to see if I can find them, because I know where they will be up ahead there. They will be gathered in very huge crowds, which I will be more than, happy to share with you, but there must be quite a lot of them. Remember, during migration, we get about 1.5 million of them coming here to the Mara, but they're never in one spot. They're always moving around. So you could be in the migration season, but you could be in an area where you don't see them at all. I have a very big herd of elephant coming up, and some more way to my left. It's starting to cool off. Started out quite hot, but the temperature is dropping, and I'm loving this. It's much better for the predators to come out, so that we can spot them, because it's been hard to spot a cat this afternoon since I started, and I know they're around here. They're always around here. I've caught up with the wildebeest. I'm gonna stop right here so I can share them with you, but they're still on the move. We also have a beautiful herd of elephant that is over to my left, and another line of wildebeest has just started further down to my left. So looks like the wildebeest are deciding to head out. That is another line. As you can see, they are heading out. Yeah, I'll leave you to enjoy that scene as the wildebeest leave the marsh, and we'll take you to another safari vehicle.
Well, making our way down south, we thought that we did look at it yesterday, I know, but you just can't get enough of these enormous nests. We thought we'd just stop and appreciate this enormous structure with you folks. We're also looking for any activity of snakes, and as well as that beautiful little small raptor, the pygmy falcon. Also looking nice and slow with my binders. We're looking for any skinks. You would find tree skinks inhabiting. Oh, there's one, Glenn. Got it. Do you see where the branch comes out there? Do you see where that bed patch is? There goes another one. Fantastic. Look at this, guys. Glenn's going to find it for us quickly. So these skinks, a little bit down, like inhabiting nests with sociable weavers. Up to the left. There we go. On the sun there. Got him. Look at that. Nice. So these skinks will inhabit nests with sociable weavers, And look how amazing that animal is clinging to the bark. So obviously you've got claws at the end of the digits, and that enables it to scale these surfaces. No sticky pads, no suction cups. It is claws that enable it to move. There's another one, Glenn. Go in. To the right. There it moves. Look at that. And so these skinks rely on the sociable weavers as an early warning system for a pygmy falcon. Up a little bit. There it is. Fantastic. Blends in so well. That elongated stripe really allows it to blend in with this fragmented bark. But this little skink will actually use the sociable weavers sociable weavers as an early warning system for the presence or the approach of a pygmy falcon, which would predate on these little skinks. So the skinks relying on the birds and also finding refuge in these big, wonderful abodes. But a nice little lizard to see, especially on a tree like this. So skinks are fairly easy to recognize. If you look at that head, it's almost uniform with the body. They've almost got no neck. That's typical of skink family. And really remarkable little reptile, eating small insects. So anything from flies to small grasshoppers. They'll be feeding on that. What else is there? I saw a bit of movement a bit higher. Sorry, just hold on. What is that? Oh, no, it's just the bark. But really nice co-inhabiting species. And so they will inhabit these enormous nests and actually coincide or co-inhabit with the sociable weaver nests. But we're looking for owls resting on top. We're looking for any kills. We'll find leopards actually stashing their kills on top of these enormous structures. So every time we drive past, you have to be really, really careful. Oh, Anushka, how long did it take them to build this nest? Anushka, this over here, this nest is very old. To build a nest this size, this would be, I would say, close to 20, 30 years. I mean, they're continuously building and renovating these enormous nests. So you can see there's actually different sections of this nest. So if Glenn can just get back there, you'll see that there's a section on the left-hand side of the tree. There we go. You can see there's a section on the left-hand side of the tree. There's a separate nest in the middle there, almost top middle of the screen, and this enormous section on the far right. This nest would be 30 plus years. It takes them a long time to accumulate this much material, and then they could last years and years and years. They're fairly weather resistant. You do have a little bit of negative impact from rain. If we have big rains, obviously the material soaks up all of this water, and when that extra weight is added onto the branches, sometimes these limbs do break. And I mean, it is a lot of weight for the tree to hold. Although this is one of the toughest woods in Africa, this camelthorn, along with other species like leadwood and ironwood, which are just extremely, extremely hard. But going past these nests, you always have to have a careful eye for anything, because there are so many individual species that utilize these nests at different given points and times. We're going to send you off to another location. We'll be back soon.
Well, the wildebeest have moved on. They're not very far. We'll be sharing with you shortly where they've gone and talk about them. But here, another very beautiful herd of elephant, a good about 15, and those two are about 2.5, 3 years old. It looks like they are wrestling, and that guy is trying to bully her younger cousin. You can see that. That is bullying, showing dominance to the younger ones. Better be careful, because if it trumpets or rumbles, the mother would come out, and usually they get some disciplination. they get disciplined quite quickly. But those there, you can tell they are males, and usually after having their fill, they'll play around, plays that determine who is dominant to the other, and it will prove in the near future to be very, very useful, because it will stop conflicts, as they will know each other and understand that we don't need to fight anymore. They're coming towards me. I don't know how much longer they have, but casually they are enjoying themselves. It's always fun to watch these little guys. This animal is making a comeback, and as you can tell here, we're doing really well with lots of young ones. I would like to see more of these guys, but looks like we're going to be seeing more in the coming years, and it's very, very good.
Here we have got a little bathing scene going on. We had some guinea fowls, they've gone away, and, well, the starling's now going away too, but it was having quite a sweet little bath in that puddle. It's been left over by the rain. Lovely calls of the orange-breasted bushshrike. And then, if you look over here, we've got some Natal spurfowl on the ground, which are a bit closer by. There they are, wandering gently along towards what I think is the most magnificent jackalberry tree on the reserve, second most magnificent jackalberry tree, and the only one that has this weird twisted trunk that I don't think is really explicable, because none of the others here have got the same thing. Hi guys, having a good afternoon, enjoying the warmth like we are? Yes, sure you are, even though you are obviously a little bit nervous. I suppose if I was that size I would also be nervous, looking for little seeds and insects and whatever else they can find. Very sweet. There's a robin, or I think it's a robin, that's imitating a Diedrich's cuckoo just behind us. Not doing a very good job of it, but trying. Is the spurfowl going to fill the gap there? And it's got 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, let's move on. We're now on our way to drive up the Mlalamati riverbed, and we'll see if we can see the spotted eagle owl.
Good luck with the spotted eagle owl, James. Now here we have a second lioness that has joined in for some bites here. So I think she was guarding while her sister was eating. So they normally take turns to eat, or sometimes eat together. Looks like they were super tired after they took these wildebeest down. So the other one has eaten, gained some energy, went to rest. And I'm sure this is what will happen with this one. She will eat. Look at that blood. The blood that they sometimes drink from the carcass after they've just taken down a kill helps them regain energy. So mostly they will just take down an animal after maybe a very long and hard time to get it down, and then go and take a rest. And then they'll walk back slowly and start eating. And this is what this lioness has done. She was watching while her sister was eating. So her sister got a share, at least enough for now, went to rest, and then this one here got to carry on. So these are good meals, so which can at least last them for about 4 days, because it seems like there are just 2 of them. But they can sometimes share with the rest of the pride, who might as well join in soon or later. Remember, we're coming to you live, #WildEarth, for your question and comments on the YouTube comment section at FC, for young viewers at Kids Questions at wildearth.tv. I think she's drinking blood. Yeah, she's drinking blood. The blood will help them actually to gain energy from the long hunt, I'm sure. After she's already eaten, she'll go and take a rest. Look at her, how she's watching around. There's some wildebeest and zebras walking over in the distance as she carries on to drink blood. She needs more energy. It's interesting how these lions take turns to eat. You wonder what communication goes through them as they're eating. Who will take a turn, who will rest, and how to go about it. It's instinct that picks in from a very young or early age. Lynn, thank you so much for your question. Yes, she might. She can roar, which is more of a contact call. Especially if, let's say, for example, they were walking or stalking at night, and one of them locates and takes a zebra or a wildebeest down, then she will call to make her sister come join her for the meal. Definitely, but here at least she can be seen by one of her sisters, but if she was by herself, she might roar and call the rest of the sisters to come. Like I told you a little bit earlier, they've been here for over about 7 hours where they were waiting, because we passed them here in the morning and thought they will be successful in a hunt, but come this afternoon, that's when they've got lucky. So that shows you how lions go through a tough life in pursuit of prey. Sometimes they fail, sometimes they win. It's been taking them about 3 days consecutively. I've watched them miss or fail out on a hunt. So today their prize has been paid. Seems like there's lots of blood there. You can see how she's licking her face. As I wait here to see what's going to happen next, let's take you over to another safari vehicle.
We have come to the nest of the spotted eagle owl. The spotted eagle owl is fast asleep. Is completely used to us now. totally comfortable that we are not going to do it any harm, or that it is completely invisible to us. Sorry about that. Now, by my reckoning, that egg should be just about ready to come out and reveal the cotton wool ball that is beneath. Because, if I'm not mistaken, the incubation period is about... no, it's not. It's probably about a week out. I think it's about 30 days. Let me just quickly check. Let me quickly have a look. Incubation period is 29 to 33 days, yes. So Tristan mentioned that he thought they were nesting here before he left, and that was the day I got here, Trish and I got here, which was almost 3 weeks ago, so it can't be too far off. Probably another 10 days or so before she is gone and we have to start hunting up and down this bank for a small cotton wool bowl with yellow eyes and a little black beak. Oof, it'll be just too wonderful. For those of you who don't know, we watched a spotted eagle owl in this area grow from cotton wool to flight over the course of, I don't know, it must have been 6 weeks or so at the end of last year, leading up to the Christmas period. It was very, very special. Each day would come here and he'd be slightly bigger, and then eventually we watched him take his first flight. His name was Sebwig because he was found by Sebastian. And we hope that Sebwig is perhaps part of his own spotted eagle owl couple now. He's moved on from home. This is one of his proud parents, his mum. She looks quite severe. I think she's probably quite strict. Not sure if she allows any friends over. Sebwig certainly wasn't allowed any play dates. He had to play on his own. Definitely makes him do his homework. And unlike the parents of the people I used to teach, definitely makes them practice their guitar. Linda, you say this is your favorite kind of bird? Yes, I think a lot of people like owls very much. I am certainly one of those. There's something very captivating about them. Perhaps it's their legend. You know, they appear in a lot of cultures as mysterious creatures, possibly because they operate at night and they make that very hooting sound, a lot of them. Some of them don't make a hooting sound at all, but the big ones tend to. And that seems to be around the world that owls fulfill that mysterious role in folklore. Not so much the incredibly, brutally noisy crested francolin. Just when you're settling in for a gentle relax, it starts trumpeting its head off. Is it one eye slightly open? Look with my binoculars. No? I think they are both very closed. I'll probably hear the odd fly. And so I think we'll carry on Let's see if we can find any evidence of those lions, because I've got no idea where they went.
Well, there's never a dull moment, and this is another amazing sight of the white-bearded gnu with what they do best: moving. And here there is a good couple of thousand that have decided it's no longer okay to be here, and they're heading backwards for no reason, because the grass is everywhere. But like I said, they have a mind of their own, and they can decide to move from one area to the other. But this is a fantastic view. I hope you're enjoying this. They are scattered, and also there is a very long line that stretches all the way in front of me and across to the other side, and goes a very, very long way and disappears over into the horizon. This is how many there are. It's such an amazing sight. I'm very, very grateful that I'm getting to share this with you, because it happens only this time of the year and for a very, very short time. They go all the way back there and disappear into the horizon. I will be going across to the other side and see how many there are. But this is the great migration. Yeah, and that's where they're coming from, a long ways back there. I don't know how far it stretches, but you can see just such a magical scene set by this animal. That's beautiful. This is what they do best: moving. And here they're proving that they do that really, really well. Remember, this is live. It's coming from the Masai Mara, the Mara Triangle. Yeah. Sometimes I get lost with the words to explain, how beautiful is this. You can see their nice white beards. Looks like they're very determined to get somewhere. And then when they get to that somewhere, they go somewhere else, and then they continue to find, somewhere. They're always on the move. Constantly on the move, and sometimes they just decide it is time to run a little bit, and they do that really, really well. The one thing that they are good at is they break their legs quite easily. They're very accurate in where they step. Of many that die, very few die of breaking their limbs. So it's astonishing and amazing to learn that, they actually die of different things and not breaking their legs. And as you can see, walking very close to your friend or running very close to your friend, sometimes you might trip you or trip him. But here, nobody ever falls from being tripped by their fellow gnu. Remember, continue talking to us. This is amazing, guys. #WildEarth. Questions, comments are really, really welcome. This is fantastic. This is amazing. I hope you're enjoying this. Yeah, they keep going and going and going. Michelle Jumbo, thank you for your comment. This is amazing to see. Indeed, it is super cool to see. It is amazing to see them, run like this. Yeah, looks like they've slowed down. Maybe these guys are the much more experienced ones, the ones that have done a few migrations. They know that, they will get there even by walking. I'm going to move further up so I can get around to where they are. Because I know, the herds are actually even bigger, on the other side, more than where I am. But that was just an amazing scene. Yes, I'm going to continue on. Let's take you to another live safari vehicle.
Well, good luck there, Isaac. We have just come back to an area where we found this beautiful bird. And myself and Glenn thought, what are the chances that it'll be here again? It's a little bit far. We've been just trying to sneak up a little bit closer so we can get a better view. But it is an absolutely beautiful raptor. And the raptor that we see every now and then at Tswalu. It's only about 30 centimeters and weighing in only at about 60, oh no, it won't be weighing at about 60, 160 grams. This is a Gabar goshawk. Very, very nice bird to see. And we saw it here a couple of days ago, and myself and Glenn were talking, what if this bird was to be here? And it'd be really nice to get a beautiful small raptor on the checklist. So it resembles that of the pale chanting goshawk. It's just smaller. The color scheme is almost to a T, like the pale chanting. But size would vary. And then the markings along the breast would slightly vary as well. Size is obviously a dead giveaway when it comes to birding, but a very, very nice bird to see at that. The interesting thing about this bird is that we actually get a melanistic form. So instead of that color scheme that you are seeing there, you can find this bird almost jet black. Very, very cool looking bird. And it's not uncommon to find these color schemes or these morphs within birds. You get a few bird species that have these different color forms, this being one of them. It'll actually make quite a small portion of the actual population of these birds. But very nice to see. Oh, seen. Oh, what does Gabar mean? I actually do not know, to be honest with you. Gabar, something to do with the barring maybe on the chest, Gabar. Or, maybe somebody can help us out there. Let's get the viewers involved. If somebody knows what Gabar actually means, drop us a comment at hashtag WildEarth to help us out on that question. Great question. What does Gabar mean? I'll be learning something today or tonight. Increasing my hard drive size. It's always wonderful to get those questions where you get stumped, because it increases your knowledge and it makes you become a better guide, a more diverse, more all-rounded guide. But this little bird would go for birds up to Franklin size. So Franklin's like a small to medium-sized guinea fowl, rodents, bats, a wide range of reptiles, and as well as insects. Also got the capability of catching insects on the wing, and as well as catching animals on the ground. So a very versatile little bird. And what I'm hoping for, we are actually in the laying period. It's normally between July and December that these birds would produce eggs. So I'm fingers crossed that we could potentially find a nest here somewhere, and it'll be a little stick platform that these birds would create. But with the bird being in this area again, I'm pretty sure, let's check the tree next to me, pretty sure we're going to have a nest somewhere close by, which would be amazing. We've also taken a look at our Kalahari scrub robin nest, and we have now realized that there's 2 eggs inside the nest. Wonderful. It's quite hot in Tswalu today, especially when we're sitting still. It's quite warm. It's about 29 degrees Celsius today. That's about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to try and get a bit closer, and then we'll see you a bit later.
We have got a lovely herd of elephants here. In fact, yes, it's our half-eared herd, as you can see. She is a senior member, if not, in fact, the matriarch of this little herd. And again, everything is just so peacefully, almost soporific out here, because the sun is shining, but it's not too hot. There's a cool breeze blowing. And if you ever want to feel real peace, being around elephants that don't want to kill you is one way of feeling real peace. Elephants that just want to get on with things, and just do get on with things while you're around them, is just such an honor and relaxing kind of experience to have. Well, they're not too far from a little muddy pan. I'm hoping they're going to go there and start tossing mud about the place. I think I can probably move around a bit and get a better view from just around that side. Just because the sun is a bit in our way over there. For those of you wondering about Trishala, I'm afraid she's still got a nasty crick in her shoulder. It's definitely getting better, but we thought if she drove right now, it wouldn't heal. So hopefully she'll be back in the morning. Here we go. Hello, my dear. There's a lovely mud puddle close by. I think you should visit it with your youngster. Let him play in the mud for a while. There you've got a nice view of her ear, or lack thereof. I imagine that must make a relatively substantial difference, or significant difference, to her ability to cool her brain down, and I wonder if she doesn't need to seek out more shade or more water than others of her species. But I wouldn't know for sure. There she comes. Hello, Rachi. You're wondering how elephants protect themselves from lions? Well, they protect themselves from lions by being enormous. That's their main defense. And so lions really will struggle to take an adult elephant. In fact, it's almost impossible for lions to take an adult elephant unless it's severely compromised in some way. So it's very sick, it's extremely old, and has lost an enormous amount of condition. They can and do sometimes take youngsters or sub-adults who have suffered as from drought. So in Savuti you see it happening. You certainly used to. And youngsters are protected from the rest, or from predation, by the rest of the herd. And so they have a number of strategies, but it's mainly their size. And they do use their tusks as well if they have to. Hi. She's just saying hello to us, and I suspect actually just doing that. Maybe saying that's close enough, but she didn't even lift her ears out. Lovely sound of her skin on the branches. Heading straight for that little pan. So maybe my wishes will come true. All of my dreams will today become a reality. Let's go and line up at the pan there. Maybe we will be lucky and she will arrive.
Everyone, and welcome to And Beyond Ngala. We are currently at Alfred Dam, which is our main watering hole in the west, where a herd of elephant just made their way down to come drink. There's especially a very, very small, tiny one in the middle there. My name is Rowan. I'll be your guy on the camera. I've got OD. And we've been sitting here for a while, actually just waiting for the elephants to come down. And rather entertained because there was a crocodile, I think, right there where they came down, and they chased it into the water. One of the youngsters actually got a fright, backed off, and then went and stood there to go see what it really was that gave him a fright. Absolutely hilarious to watch. You see the very, very tiny one just there to the right. Well, 2 elephants into the herd. Very protected. Also quite nice and shady where the small one is, which is good for him. I don't really think he knows exactly how to use its trunk. So I know him walking down that hill, the trunk was literally just flapping everywhere, almost hitting himself in the eye every now and then. But a beautiful day here on Alfred Dam. Well, it's quite windy. I think Odie is... Well, the hippos agree. Odie is zooming into the other croc there. Quite an enormous croc, I must say. Big gnarled crocodile. And the hippos have all made their way towards us, actually. Some checking us out. And then I think the 2 that you can see with their back out of water might be 2 young males. So every now and then they yawn at each other and bellow at each other, almost as in competition. Joe, what a stunning day. There's a nice breeze coming off the water right onto us. Very, very nice. We're hoping that some of the elephants might actually come into the water and go for a swim. But I don't think today was too hot just yet. They're just enjoying a drink. And then further up the bank to the right, there are still some elephants making their way down. Looks like 3 more that I can see for now. 1 big female and 2 younger ones. Love the way they come down a bank. You can see it's almost like their weight pushes them forward. They do it at a trot, bit of a jog. There's really a large female. The ones now had their water. I think they're starting to move off. So that would be the matriarch's call, saying, okay, let's carry on to good feeding ground. Actually, everywhere is good feeding ground at the moment. We are so green on Ngala, it's just wonderful. Pity they don't come in for a swim. It's awesome to watch in swimming. They go on there, submerge their entire body, and the trunk almost acts like a saw. Some Egyptian geese calling in the background. So I was watching them move. It always looks like they're in no rush, just slowly ambling along. I guess it's also they don't really have anywhere to go. Just eat, drink, sleep, repeat. We're going to stay here for a while, see if the other elephants come down. I want to see them jogging down. But for now, I don't think we'll move at all. Yeah.
It is very relaxing watching elephants move. So one of them came to the pan. The other two, the half-eared cow and her little baby, did briefly come to the pan. But now we've got two young bulls, one here and one approaching for a drink. Naturally, he's gone behind all the sticks to have his drink. Here comes another one. He's already got mud all over his body, so clearly this is not their first time at some water today. Now, this is not always their first choice for water because it's dirty, it's muddy, it's mucky. They will drink it if they have to, but they do prefer clean water. You can see one of them kind of had a drink, the other just put his trunk in, sniffed some out, and then blew it back out and decided he wasn't interested. So see if he goes to the other pan. If he does, I'll drive around there quickly. Or if he's just going feeding. Certainly looks like he wants some water. Sometimes they drink so quickly and sometimes they take ages over it. All right, let's go around there. He's obviously going to that little water hole. I'm in a bit of a mud pile. There we are. Out. Dung beetle. Yeah, he's just having a very quick drink, I think. So it's not quite muddy enough for it to be a mud bath, and I guess it's not quite clean enough for it to be proper drinking water for them. And so they've spurned our pans, and they'll move on. Fussy, fussy elephants. Leaves of Ziziphus mucronata, or the buffalo thorn. Right, we're going to continue back towards the east now and see if we can find any more sign of those lions.
I'm sure James will succeed. If not, he'll make me laugh. We've got a bit of a better view on this beautiful little gabar goshawk. Just to give you guys reference, this bird is about 30 centimeters. A pale chanting, which has very similar color scheme, would be about 55 centimeters. And obviously size will be a dead giveaway between the two species. But then also around the legs, the gabar goshawk is a lot lighter in the pattern in comparison to that pale chanting goshawk, which does resemble this bird somewhat. I was just looking for that percentage of the dark morph. I just couldn't remember it, and I just wanted to refresh my memory. It makes up between 7 and 25% of the general population of this species is the dark morph. But something I stumbled across here which was amazing. This bird, when it builds its nest, would be a stick platform, and it's mainly built by that of the female. She will build a nest and then incorporate it with a social form of spider on the nest. And there's no evidence to support why they do this. There is one theory, and that could be to conceal and actually camouflage the nest. Pretty amazing, a raptor using a social spider in order to camouflage its nest. And that is another level of doing your business of creating your nest. But nice barring on the tail, easy recognizable as well. And then obviously the color scheme, just very easy to recognize. So this is definitely a territorial individual. It being here and us seeing it here continuously, this is definitely its area of operation, which is nice for us. Oh, Anushka, I wouldn't know, okay, so how strong are its talons? I wouldn't know by pressure, but the nails at the end of the digits with the power are very, very, very efficient tools to grab hold of prey. And now you've got to consider the animal is fighting for its life, so they've got to be fairly powerful and as well as have the means necessary to anchor and hold on to the prey item. So something like a rodent is, it's not going to get out the grasp of this little raptor very easily. But that's where that hook-like beak comes into very important play, because to eliminate the animal, I don't want to use other words, I don't like other words like that, but to eliminate the animal, it will obviously hold it with its little talons, and then using that hook beak, it'll sever the spinal cord to give it a quick go away. But in terms of sheer power, I'm really not sure how much power it'll be able to put down. You would have to wear a glove. Let me explain. You'd have to wear a nice thick leather glove if this little raptor had to be sitting on your hand. Because if you weren't, those talons, and obviously with the power of them, they would go straight into your hand, and that wouldn't be nice. So nice thick leather glove to protect your hand. But a really remarkable little raptor, and something that I treasure seeing here on Tswalu. It was the first time I actually ID'd one for my life list, which was actually here on Tswalu. And we are going to be doing a little walk around here to see if we can find its nest, which would be very nice if it is actively nesting. The size of it, I would say that this is a little male. Females are bigger, larger, especially in this species, the gabar. With raptors, you're having the female being larger than that of the male, because females have to sit on the nest, so they need to be larger in order to defend and protect the invaluable little items that they deposit. So 9 out of 10 times females will be larger within the raptor family. Wow, look at that landscape. And you can see how well that bird is just hidden. Absolutely just disappears. So a nice perching spot that it could hunt from. So catching a bird on the wing or on the ground. Matthew, what tree is the bird on? Okay, let's take a look. So we'll start in the bark. You can see the nice, long, fragmented sections of the bark, and as well as its height is a dead giveaway, and then it's got nice, long spines. This is a camel thorn, or Vichilia areoloba. Very beautiful tree. So size, that nice fragmented bark that you can see, and then its height is a dead giveaway that this is a camel thorn. Beautiful tree, extensive roots, long-lived, and obviously providing a perfect spot for a bird such as this while it's resting. It's nice, Matthew. You're interested in the tree. That's wonderful. When it comes to trees, it's just another beautiful avenue. You can see how it's just scanning, just the head rotating every now and then. And I mean, their eyes are positioned in the front of their head to give them excellent eyesight. The size of the eye, but then also the position of the eyes allows the bird to judge distance very, very accurately. When it comes to capturing prey, you don't want to be off by 2 or 3 centimeters. You want to be spot on the mark when those vicious little talons come down. But really nice. I hope everybody's having a wonderful afternoon, enjoying the game drive, the sunset safari. Myself and Glenn are definitely enjoying it. And we're coming close to the area where we're going to start searching for this mother and 3. We haven't found any tracks yet. But like I mentioned, in this landscape, if a herd of eland or oryx come through, they could obviously detrimentally affect the tracks, making it a bit longer for us to follow up on these animals. And with her moving, makes it a little bit harder, but we're always up for a challenge here on Tswalu, especially when it comes to tracking. We're going to send you off to another safari location. We'll see you later.
Good luck, Carl. Right, so all the elephants have moved off now, and there's nothing else coming down to drink. There were a few impalas on the northern side that just walked past. And strangely enough, the other elephants that were coming down, they actually never came to drink, but it kind of makes sense. I mean, there's so much water around now, so they don't really need to come to these large watering holes. All the hippos are still in the water. The one croc is in the water, the other one's still in the bank, and then just a lot of Egyptian geese. Every now and then they fly up and make a lot of noise. It's actually quite interesting to see, even with a fish eagle flying over, the Egyptian geese will just start cackling away. I think we'll probably end up leaving here quite soon. We'll go back to the central parts of the reserve. But this is just such a spectacular spot on Ngala. Nice vantage point, because if you sit here on the dam wall, and if you look to the other side, right behind us now, you actually see a lot of Ambian Ngala. I think Odie there is zooming in on a grey heron. Shame that bird also got chased away by the elephants. Everyone was just minding their own business, and then the big bullies come around and cause havoc. What a beautiful place. We're hoping that this fills up completely this year. I mean, if we're getting this much rain this early, it'd be amazing to see, because when I just arrived here, this watering hole used to stretch all the way into the north, big drainage line that runs away. It used to be a very busy spot, especially 2017, when we had that enormous drought. Everything used to come here, and even the Birmingham Pride, they used to spend a lot of time here chasing buffalo around. Especially during those times, the buffalo weren't really too strong. But yeah, I think we're going to leave here and head back towards the Tswalu River and see what else is happening on the reserve.
Your beautiful Tswalu area. I have visited there once. Very, very beautiful vegetation, diversity of animals, and as well as beautiful trees. So this guy is busy hunting right now. This is typical of Gabba goshawk behavior when they're hunting. So they would hunt from a perch position like this, or they would even pursue on ground. They would pursue an animal on the ground if obviously the animal is not too quick to scurry away. But I've read along the lines that this animal would chase after a bird between 60 and 80 kilometers for about 4.5 kilometers they've been recorded. So fairly strong in the endurance section, and you need to be fairly strong and quick to get away from this little high-speed predator. Glenn, is that a nest or is that I think that's actually a white-browed sparrow weaver nest. That's making me think that it's this little Gabba goshawk nest.
Look who was walking along the road as we came along. Oh. It's Thandi and her little son. Gosh, that makes me happy. I wonder if she's taking him to a kill. She's certainly taking him away from where the lions were. Keep our distance, because he's still a little nervous when you get too close in a vehicle and he's not on a tree or near a kill or too near his mum. So as soon as we came around the corner, he gave us a little bit of a look that said, he looked a bit scared. So I'm just going to keep my distance. I'm going to have to call this in on the radio. We might just spend a little bit longer with them, though. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm sure you're all as excited as I am to see them. All right, let's move on a bit. They're not in any rush, but she's taking a road. She might just be moving him away from where the Nkuhumas were. They've kind of come down from that area, so I don't know. Stations I've located, Thandi and Cub. They are mobile in a northerly direction along Drakensberg Road towards junction with Batalia.
Thank you.
Radio is going to go crazy.
Thanks, James. If I could book a position there, man. Thank you very much. Just from Masinga. We're very close. We're coming up from Torchwood side.
Not sure how long we'll be able to stay, but hopefully for a decent amount of time. See him trying to play with her. Getting in her way.
Thank you very much, James. Well done. I'd like to grab first standby.
So cute.
Just to confirm, James, we're coming across. Is that okay with you? We're very close. We're just coming up past Tswalu Camp.
Look at that. Yeah, it's fine. We're live at the moment. Okay, let's carry on. Now, she's cut down off the road. She does love this block, and it is, to say the least, tricky to drive around in there. But we are going to do our level best. I think that they should just sit down and have a little bit of a sleep now. Don't you guys? Let me just go around them, actually. No, Malice Molly, I don't think that there is any active attempt by her to teach him where to go in this area. I think all that happens is that as he gets bigger, so they start to roam more widely together. Here they come towards us. Sit nice and still when she goes past. She can be a little bit ornery. Now you see, watch him. He's just a little bit nervous when he isn't near a tree. And he'll just trot ahead there. There we go. Hi, boy. Animals now mobile west on Batalia. So cool. irritating her, trying to have a play. Okay, let's carry on. It always astounds me, the probability, of course, of bumping into these animals when you just happen to be driving along a road at a particular time, and I try not to think about it too much because it's so vanishingly small. I'm just going to stay behind them like this because there's not enough clearing for me to get around them and do so quietly without creating a kind of big noise that I think will give him a bit of a fright. And what we don't want, more than anything, is for him to turn out like his father. It's all right, boy. See how he gave us a little look there and then trotted a little bit forward. Remember that in his infancy, he spent very little time around vehicles. Yeah, stuck in bed, it's made my day as well. He spent a lot of his youngest period, in the middle of lockdown, so he was very tiny and there was no one around, and on Torchwood. So there really wasn't a lot of vehicle activity around him. Oh, you are too sweet. Look at the way the little tongue sticks out. It's so funny. Hope she's taking him to a nice big fat kill that will be in a tree for 3 days. It's okay, boy. We're not coming any faster. The guy's mum's striding out in front of him, and just like a toddler, he has to jog to keep up every so often. Yes, Ellie, they are very beautiful cats indeed. We are so lucky to be around them. Now, I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to be with them because you heard the radio go immediately on us finding them. But we'll do our best to stay as long as we can. Yeah, no, he's a nervous little thing, this guy. Let's carry on. I'm going to have to get out of the way to allow somebody else to have a look. Oh no, she's just going. Oh, she's going off the road here. So let me just try and follow up.
Leopards are one of my favorite cats, and whenever I see one, my heart skips a bit. Now, here in the Mara, we have our wildebeest on the move, and they look like they're heading to the west. You can see how the sun is shining on their mane as they're walking towards the west. It seems like to the western side of this Mara triangle, the grass has not been grazed or utilized. So I think after the rain, the fresh shoots of grass that grew are going to be utilized by these herds. But we've seen a change of direction and weather pattern and how these wildebeest are moving. We have some that were by the marshes where we just saw a lioness eating one. Yesterday we saw some by the river. It seems like some are crossing towards the other side of the Mara Reserve, and some that are in the plains where we call it Topi Plains. Really? Thank you so much for your question. We are about, I would say, an approximate about 7.5 kilometers away from the river. We are further towards the escarpment area. So behind me is the Ololo escarpment, and where I'm actually pointing is the Mara River. We are actually about 7.5 kilometers away. There's some herds that are close to the river, so these ones have gone further up towards the escarpment. But we always see a split up of these herds whenever they arrive here in the Mara. So some are by the marsh, some are by the river, and some are here. So to answer your question, about 7.5 kilometers away. You see some are crossing the roads while utilizing the ungrazed area. See lots of cattle egrets flying. I like the association of these herds and the cattle egrets. Look at them flying over. So I hope these herds will still be here, because I'm still crossing my fingers for
Travis, yes, leopards are very territorial, highly territorial. And the female's territory is about a third to half the size of a male's territory. And so they will fall under the, I hesitate to use the word protection, what should we say, auspices of a male called Morwati, whose territory covers this one, and the female to the north of this, which is Tlalamba's territory, and possibly even one to the south as well, which is Sibui's territory. Oh, hey, what a stroke of blind luck. I'd really love to claim some kind of credit for having tracked these things all day and predicting exactly where they were going to be, but that would just be disingenuous and a lie. You, Hedgie girl, you're so right. They are the most beautiful moments for me. You could sit here all day, couldn't you? After nigh on 15 years of doing this kind of thing, the thrill of spending time with cats like this and finding them, bumping into them, so I use the term finding loosely, the thrill is just as great as it ever was. Now she's getting a little irritated. It's not only with him, it's also with the activity. We might be able... Blind luck. These other guys are leaving. So we may be able to spend a bit more time here, which will be nice. Great. Just make sure they are actually going to leave. Otherwise we will have to go. So just in case you're wondering, I think all the reserves where we're broadcasting from, with the exception of the Mara, where things are a bit different because it's such an open area, there is a 3-vehicle limit at the sightings, often a 2-vehicle, sometimes a 1-vehicle, and especially with something like this, you just don't want to overpressure the animal, A, and B, you also want to make it relatively intimate for the guests that are here. Intimacy is something you don't get sort of at the height of migration season in the Mara, for example, but there's so much space there that, you know, you can have a lot more than 3 vehicles and still have a great sighting. Fanoti Ngena.
Go ahead, gents.
Ule Queen. Just going to try and bring Fan into the sighting. Watch her. She's not happy. Boya. Kuna timbirinse na timova.
Well, I'm here on the marsh on the opposite side, and here is the deepest part of the marsh. And as you can see, it's another beautiful setting. Lush green sedge grass. And that's what the elephants are here eating. It's a beautiful setting, as you can see. They love being here because the grass is very soft and easy to chew, swallow, because it comes with water. Yeah, these are quite a huge herd of elephant that's hanging around here. It looks like they love it here. It's quite beautiful. And slowly they are making their way towards me. I don't know if they'll come out here, but definitely, you know, I'm sure they're cold now, being in the water for almost the whole afternoon. They don't want to be out when it's cold, so they want to be out. They don't want to be in when it's cold, so they want to get out now, come my way. They love this grass because it comes with water and there's nothing to worry about drinking. But farther away, as you can see, we have wildebeest, another different herd that we hadn't seen. They're all over around this area. And this is the farthest they go towards the marsh, because towards the right is the Mara River, and they cannot cross over here because it's very thick bush. So this is the last bit of where they're going to be staying. Remember to talk to us. Hashtag Wild Earth. Questions and comments are really, really welcome. Looks like another pair of youngsters over there playing. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, I love to see the interaction of young bulls. I don't think it's the best place to be playing because it's very swampy. Caroline, Jumbo, you want to find out how many miles an elephant travels per day? Well, I've always said it differs in different areas. Here they can only travel maybe about around 3 kilometers per day. They don't need to go far because there's plenty of grass, plenty of shrubs and leaves, plenty of water. So they don't need to travel far. But in areas where there's threat, there is scarcity of water, elephants have been known to travel for 20 to almost over 100 kilometers in 24 hours. So they can travel very long distances if need be. So it depends on where they are. Over here, there is no issues with traveling. It's not just a matter of choosing where you want to be. It's not always the case because in late January, February, it does dry up quite a lot and the marsh shrinks quite a lot. So the concentration is very high and you find many of them, moving out of here to other areas where there's more food, but they don't need to travel more than, I would say, 3 kilometers at the moment here in the Mara. Well, I'm going to move on, and while I do that, let's find out what another safari vehicle is up to. Well, looks like the one to the right did get somewhere deeper. And he's still enjoying his grass right there. Well, there's quite a good number of them. I'm expecting them to leave the water because it's going to be very cold. And they're usually out of the swamp. They have stayed a little bit. I don't know if it is the wildebeest that's making them last a little bit longer in the water because they don't like the noise of the wildebeest. They don't like, all the noise and the running of the wildebeest. So, we normally see them try and separate themselves from the wildebeest. So maybe that's why they're staying in the swamp for much longer. Looks like there's another big herd of elephant coming over there. MGN, Jumbo, do we get ranks in elephant herds? Yes, there is. To begin with, there is the matriarch. The matriarch is the oldest member of the herd, and she is the most experienced. She is the one that pulls the strings and commands and passes messages. Second in command, usually the second oldest female could be her sister, and then the rest could be cousins, or they could be related. All of them have got a rank. We have also what we call cousins, and they're called, the allo aunties. They take care of the young ones. So there are ranks, but the highest rank is the matriarch, who is the oldest, the most experienced. Something did happen there. I don't know if you noticed that the herd to the left has left the area. Immediately, the herd on the right arrived. So it means, you will see that. It means that either they don't get along or there's too much of them here, and so they have to make way for a slightly bigger herd. Yeah, those ones just came in, and the other guys just left quite quickly. there was an interaction, and you can still see there that there's two young ones that are saying hello to one another. But definitely there is a herd that's leaving, and the other one, it looks like they are taking a long loop around. Will they come back? And yeah, everybody's following. Yeah, that was an interesting behavior. You can still say that that female wants to, she's got her tail up. She's not comfortable at all. That's a sign that she wants to take off. You can see the farthest one away. She's put her tail down, which means she's relaxing. I don't know if the one to the left is pursuing her, the one in between the two young ones. I've never seen any kind of rivalry in females, but definitely there was something there that happened that I couldn't tell because I'm quite a long way. But yes, that female did want to leave when the other female arrived. Well, I'm gonna move on. Let's take you to another live safari vehicle.
Welcome back to and beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. When last you were with us, we were watching those white-backed vultures that had found an interesting way to keep cool in this heat. And we've stumbled across two white rhino that have also found a different way to keep cool. You can see they're both caked in mud, which I think a little bit earlier they were probably mud wallowing. You can actually see how much mud is all over the both of them. It goes right up to their back, right around their sides. I think what they were doing earlier is probably mud wallowing and rolling around. Even the female, the mother on the right, has got a whole lot of mud all around her horns. So you can see that they really sort of dug themselves into that mud. And the main reason is kind of heat and weather would be to keep themselves cool. It's a nice relaxing thing to do in the afternoon sun. And another added benefit is once the mud's dry, they can then go and rub it off on one of those rubbing posts, and that friction with the sand on their skin will actually help get rid. We're going to quickly go over to some action in Tswalu.
Another big Cape Cobra, people. Look at this. We were driving and just the shine from the sun was just unmistakable. And we had to get a little bit closer. It was a very big Cape Cobra. Nice light yellow morph. Have you still got it? Oh, look at how it's moving. Looks like either this snake is actively hunting or it's looking for a mate. It is mating season for these snakes now, and it will be using that forked tongue to pick up scent particles. And when the tongue is drawn into the mouth, that tongue touches the roof of its palate where it's got an organ, the Jacobson organ. And that organ allows the snake to decipher and understand all these beautiful chemical clues. Oh my word. It's definitely snake season in Tswalu. Look at that. Very beautiful color. What is it doing? What is it doing? Looks like it was rubbing its face on that branch there, folks. I don't know if everybody saw that. It was static and was just pushing on a little branch. Very strange. But watching the snake move through this environment, it is just effortless. I mean, I just cannot get over the movement of the snake. Amanda, I couldn't agree with you more. When you're out in the bush, you hardly ever get to see them. They have to stay hidden because of the high predation rate they do experience. And also they've got to be very clever on where they operate within the daylight period. But seeing snakes active and just watching their behavior, it's something that we don't get to experience a lot. And so I'm glad that you appreciate it so much, because people just have this very bad notion. Obviously, after the years, snakes are seen in a very, very poor light. But they are extremely... Where's it gone? Extremely diverse in their habitat. The species themselves, they are very, very amazing creatures. Oh, there it is. Glenn is still on it. You can just see the body. Just the lightness inside there is definitely not branch or grass. So we're going to see if he's going to come out there. I hope he does. Jazar, is it one of SA's deadliest snakes? It is one of the most potent of any snake or African cobra on the continent. It is a very, very strong concoction of... So if you look at the poison itself, the venom, it's just proteins. Have you still got it there, Glenn? It's just proteins, and this is by far one of the strongest on the continent. Very, 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 very highly neurotoxic, as they say it. Neurotoxic. That's the venom possessed by this beautiful snake. But yes, very, very potent. Just trying to keep tabs on it. If you can go to the right there, Glenn. Go to the right for us a little bit. I think its head's coming out there. There we go. Oh, yes. Look at that. Look at that tongue, very active. So I spoke to one of the researchers this morning, and he said, I've witnessed it firsthand before when I was walking with guests. I had the privilege of witnessing it. We actually stumbled upon a Cape Cobra. And this Cape Cobra was moving, and we eventually found it going down a hole. And we thought, oh, how lucky were we? We were in total awe about the sighting. We moved off maybe 50 meters. We found another one. And the second Cape Cobra followed exactly the same path. To the T, turn by turn, the second cobra followed the first cobra's trail. And so when they're coming into this mating frenzy, females' bodies start releasing a chemical, pheromones, which is laying down a trail for this male to follow. And all he needs to do is just stay on it with that tongue, and that tongue being forked, giving him perfect direction of left and right. But really nice to see things like this, because it is a privilege. It really is. So very widely distributed cobra species within South Africa, and like I've just mentioned before, it's the information about the snake, what it does, when it does, with whom it does, we hardly know anything. So with the Tswalu Foundation, we are trying to shed light on this snake species within the habitat, in the Kalahari system. So there's a new project, the KEEP project, KEEP, the Kalahari Endangered Ecosystem Project, and we're trying to understand all these beautiful components, how they work together in order for the whole ecosystem to be functioning, but also looking at the ecosystem, because without the components, the ecosystem crumbles. Without the ecosystem, these components wouldn't be able to survive. So really amazing research that we are conducting here on Tswalu. Still in that bush. Oh, my heart is pounding. I love sightings like this. I hope everybody's excited about it as I am. And just like Amanda mentioned there, it is really such a privilege to watch these animals. Because everybody thinks, a snake, dangerous, run away, kill it. We cannot do that. As human beings, we need to change the way we do and think about things. If it's the snake, just observe it. Just appreciate it. It's been around for a long time, and it's a role that it's playing here is quite incredible. Okay, it looks like he's enjoying that bush. Is he still there, Glenn? It looks like he's enjoying it. Let me get the binos quickly. Let me just take a look for us. I think he's gone out the other side. I think he's trying to pull a quick on me, Glenn. A quick one on us, sorry. They like doing this every now and then, playing hide and go seek. So it looks like snake 1, Carl 0. But let's just reposition, Glenn. Let's just see if we can take a look if it's coming out the other side there. So by me talking, like I just mentioned before, they won't be able to hear me. They haven't got an external ear opening, but they've got an inner nerve that can pick up vibrations. So from this distance, we shouldn't be any disturbance whatsoever. And let's just see and take a peek from this side. Yeah, snake. But what a privilege it is to see that beautiful pale yellow morph. And what a striking difference in comparison to that dark morph we saw a couple of days at that pan. No, I think he snuck out the other side. Just to let everybody know, I have got my snake stick with me, just in case it comes close to the car. But we're going to send you off to another part of this beautiful continent, and we'll see you here shortly. Okay.
Hello, everybody. The leopard has now just got up. It's been sat there. I was getting some information which, while we wait and see if she reappears, might interest you. Shudulu, they reckon, who's another leopardess, for those of you who don't know, has got new cubs around Simbambili Dam, which is very exciting. So, that was Darby telling me that. From Tusk Photo Tours. Sorry, one of the women on the photographic vehicle appears to have lost her mind entirely and is now flinging herself about. And now standing. Tundi will probably emerge at about 80 kilometers an hour very shortly. I don't think that there is a better place for us to be, I'm afraid, so we're just going to have to kind of wait this out. I don't think we can move because there are other vehicles around us. And the kill is kind of just underneath in there. And so, alas, this is all we got for now. She was lying beautifully at the bottom of the drainage line there, and then naturally, as soon as she heard that we were going to go live, she decided to go under the tree. So we'll just wait here and see.
So when last you were with us, we were with those rhino that we saw were very muddy from a little afternoon in the spent mud wallowing. And you can see actually quite a considerable change in weather has happened since we've left them. The wind has suddenly picked up and is blowing, and we've got this beautiful giraffe sitting in front of us trying to feed off this leaves. You can actually have a look at that. You see that mane blowing in the wind? Unbelievable. There's another one crossing right in front of us. Oh, this is such a gorgeous scene. Look at this. You can see the dust being picked up by the wind. Giraffe crossing right in front of that setting sun behind us. Or in front of us, sorry. Yes, this is just unbelievable. There's one that's actually about to run on camera. See, what's amazing with the way that these giraffe walk is you can see that they actually move both sides, both legs on each side at the same time. So you can see the left side goes in the right side. And there's a theory that that has something to do with their circulation, to try and circulate the blood all the way around. You can imagine that there's massive problem with circulation in such large animals. Another way that they do that is they've got a very big heart, weighs about 1 kilogram, and that manages to pump blood all the way up to the top of their necks. Actually all just crossed over the road. I think you can just see that one poking its head out now. What I love about giraffe is that they're very curious animals. So one of the few that actually pay the vehicle a little bit of attention when you're around. You can see it staring at us into the distance. Just peering at us over that little bush there. There's another one off to the left. So KB, with regards to giraffe skin tone and how dark they are, it isn't really linked to age. So what I have noticed is that males do tend to be darker, but it's not a guaranteed rule. It's just something that seems to be more often of a occurrence. I think it's just a very genetic trait, you know, just like some people are born with more olive skin, other people have lighter skin. It's just to do with your genes, really. So this is the same with giraffe. You can get very pale males and you can get very dark females. You can get darker giraffe when they're younger, and you can get very pale giraffe that are older. So it's more linked to genetics than anything else. That is a good question. The best way to actually age animals is really about their condition. So one of the recent studies on leopard, we always used to age leopard by how pink their noses were. And, the pinker generally was the younger, and then as they sort of got older, their noses would go darker. And what quite an interesting find was that the best way to age animals is actually looking at their ear condition. And it would be a similar sort of thing with any other animal, because as they get older, the ears are sort of one of the first things to lose condition. I'm just going to actually drive a little bit forward and see if we can get another one, because this one's just right behind this bush in front of us. You can see she's licking her nose quite a bit there. In fact, if we have a look at her belly, what's beautiful is you can see how incredibly round that belly is. It's bulging. I think she's actually she's very heavily pregnant and is about to give birth. So yeah, I think she's quite far along. If we have a look in front of her legs, you can see that there's some sagging skin right there. So we can see she's not quite in her prime condition. She started to lose a little bit of condition with sagging skin there. But the rest of her body, if you look around, there's no real patches of hair that's been lost. Mane is in fairly good condition. All looks pretty upright. If we look at her ears, also there's not a huge amount of scabs or any wounds around there. So I would say, they live to about 21 years old. Maybe she's about 8 or 9, somewhere around there. See that there's a little red-billed oxpecker that's going along her neck there, and it's actually using a technique called scissoring right now, which is more actually to collect parasites than ticks at the moment. The red-billed oxpecker, when they go for ticks, they actually more pick them off than do that scissoring motion. So right now I think it's just gleaming any small little parasites in a can through her skin. And it's quite a beneficial relationship for both of them, because this way the giraffe obviously gets cleaned by the oxpecker and the oxpecker gets a bit of food. Now if you see there's a wound right under that oxpecker, and that oxpecker is directly linked to that wound. And what that wound is called is it's caused by a parasite that's actually transmitted via oxpeckers. So if she had an open wound, let's say maybe an oxpecker managed to pull a tick off her, or if she had like a little scab from maybe passing through a branch with a bit of a sharp edge and it cut open her skin there, the oxpecker, when it goes and feeds off the blood, if it's got that parasite on its bill, that parasite will then infect her. It's a parasitic worm, and then they cause those little scabs that you can see there. So that is the one way in which the oxpecker is actually not a beneficial relationship for the giraffe, so they can be beneficial, and then they can also be slightly parasitic. What's interesting about her feeding, you can see that she's, instead of choosing to feed off of these taller trees, she's actually leaning down and using that neck to grab these smaller shrub bushes. So they aren't limited to only feeding off of tall foliage. You actually more often see that the giraffe feed on these smaller low-lying shrubs, and that's because they do tend to be quite nutritious and have a little bit less tannins, especially the ones with the thorns. She actually keeps moving her left leg. I wonder if she's got a bit of a sore leg there. Daniel, with regards to giraffes getting stiff necks, I don't actually think so. I think their necks are incredibly well designed. You know, they've got 7 massive vertebrae, just the same number as humans, and you will never ever see a giraffe resting its neck. Even when they lie down, their necks are upright, and that's because, you know, you can imagine if they lay down, all that blood rushes to their head. Now, they do have certain designs in their system that allow for that blood to actually flow right down the neck, but it is for short periods of time. So when they drink, for instance, you'll see that they'll kind of flick their heads up quite quickly, and it's just because they can't have a huge amount of blood to keep going down to the head. Otherwise it will actually, you know, too much blood will get there and it can cause some serious problems for them. And one of the designs they've got to sort of limit that is they've got a massive network of capillaries that sort of act like a sponge. As the blood rushes down, goes through all those capillaries, disperses quite a bit, and then as they lift their neck up, it will drain. But over a long period of time, the blood will continue to drain, those capillaries will still be full, and then it would affect their brain far too much. So they are designed to actually never ever rest their neck. So I think there's not really a big chance of it getting too stiff, and if it is, there's not much they can do about it. These giraffes seem to be walking down now. It's walking down into the hill. I think they're slowly feeding. You can see as what's amazing about all antelope and giraffe, like we're watching now, is they won't feed on one area for too much. Because what happens is the bushes start to produce tannins, which make them, you know, far more bitter. It's a defense mechanism, and there's evidence to suggest that the bushes around that one that's being fed on actually also start then producing tannins. It's almost as if the trees and bushes can communicate with each other. So they'll actually walk off quite a distance from where they were just feeding and start feeding again, and that way the trees manage to stay alive because they won't be completely depleted of their leaves. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to drive off into the setting sun, and we might try and see if there's anything else we can find. I can't even tell you what a magical sort of afternoon it is here. We've got these rolling hills all around us, big open grass plains, and we've got the most gorgeous sunset that's about to occur in about another 20 minutes or so. So we're going to drive around and enjoy this, and we'll send you to another live scene.
Timing is immaculate as ever from the cat. She's dragging the kill, and I think she's probably going to put it up in a tree. There she is. She's just in there, Paul. Might have to move out her way. If anyone from Toyota is watching, could you please prevail, it's a Dyker, could you please prevail upon the makers of your car to give it a quieter starter motor? She's going to go up this tree here. Paul, straight up that Tambuati tree, I think. Let's just wait here. So I know you've got a 0 out of 5 visual, but it might get better as she takes it up this tree. So it's a good-sized Dyker, this, that she's whacked. Come on, up you go, my dear. I can just see a tail flicking there. No, don't eat it there. That is extremely selfish. Hyenas could come at any stage. You must take it up a tree. That's it. Well done. Oh, classic. She's actually eaten quite a lot of that. I think she went to fetch him today, having devoured a fair amount of it yesterday. Ha! Quite by blind luck again, we happened to be in the right place. Perfect. And I'll tell you what, in 2 months' time, this would be hopeless because there'll be leaves all over the place. And not only will we be contending with sticks, but we'll be contending with forest as well. Well, that's just very special. That's one of the iconic images of leopard. Them pulling a kill up a tree, showing that immense strength. Although when they get to around this age, Tundi tends to feed a bit on the ground first before she hoists them. I think she could probably hoist that thing, though, in its entirety. So that's really interesting. I guess he must have been feeding now for maybe 20 minutes or so. She's obviously decided she wants some. And he's sated. And I suspect she fed on this thing for a good hour before she went to fetch him. So maybe she didn't kill it yesterday, maybe she killed it early this morning. Just spectacular. I know there's sticks everywhere, but it's still such a lovely shot, isn't it? Yeah, Peter, we are really very spoiled to have this cat sighting. And now she's looking around to see if there's any potential danger. Magic. The birds carrying on with their lives unconcernedly all the way down this gully, starting to call their evening calls. She's doing a little bit of a chuffing for her young son. And the sun, not her son, is now at its most golden. She doesn't like to have dirty feet when she's at the table. It's probably wise. And if you listen carefully, just be able to hear the rasping of her tongue. Now the elegant dismount, which is never ever quite as elegant as you think it's going to be. It's the swing around that often... Oh, no, that was beautiful. Magnificently done. Well done, Tundi. Often the little swing around just before the final dismount can be a little elegant. Now, let's see if he comes up. He might decide that he needs to feed now. Or they'll have a little cleaning session. Alright, I'm just going to wait. I'm actually going to wait, I think, right here. Because we're in a great position if he does come out. And if I hear the dim crackle of shutters, there we go, going from the other vehicle, then I'll know we need to move. Although, if we go back, we might get lucky. Let me try and go back a bit. I can see a few spots in there, but I think that's going to be it. Yeah, no, I think we must just wait here and see if he comes out. I think that might actually...
Yeah, actually that's a good point.
Perfect view of the carcass in the tree. Looks almost like she's eating something. I wonder if there isn't a bit of it down there. Maybe a leg. No, all legs are in the tree. Maybe a bit of innards. A bit of liver and kidney. What a perfect day. It's amazing how a sighting like this can just make one forget one's small concerns. There is an individual for whom we must pay tribute now, that it will not be seeing the day in the same way that the rest of us are, and that, of course, is the duiker, which is hanging lifeless and half-eaten in the tree. It is not appreciating the view of the magnificent sunset from where it's perched, and nor does it appreciate or feel like all is right with the world on a day like today. In fact, it couldn't really have gone worse. I think we might be off air. Are we off air?
Shame. For the duiker, it sounds like it has been horrible. We are still waiting at this bush where this beautiful snake went into. Nothing has come out as of yet, unless it's pulled a sneaky and shot out the back door. But just while we are sitting here, and I was talking about fangs and fang structure, just so that everybody can understand a little more clearly. I'm not no artist, so excuse the drawing. To allow you guys to understand a little bit better, I've just drawn a little quick schematic of the fang structure along with what venom type they will possess. So with the Cape Cobra, we're looking at a fang structure called fixed fanged. And this will be a very small fang situated near the front of the jaw, and it is unable to move. So that means that the fang is fixed onto the jaw itself. And this animal will be possessing a neurotoxic, which affects obviously the nerves. So heart rate, respiration, blood pressure, you name it. It's a very quick acting toxin. And like we just spoke of now, I was in such a rush and so excited, that I didn't really get it across correctly. But this cobra is the strongest in Africa. So out of all cobras in Africa, this will be the strongest potency possessed by any type of cobra. And then we've got other snakes, so adders, which would have a front hinged fang. So if you look at the snake's fang, it's able, when it strikes, basically what it does is that the hinge, the fangs will be locked up, lying against the top part of the jaw, and then when the snake strikes, these fangs are able to then be pushed forward and then into the prey. So referred to as hinged, front hinged. And this will be possessed by things like adders, and this we refer to as cytotoxic. And that will obviously be affecting the site, the actual bite site. So incredible degrading narcosis with degrading the tissue around the bite site. All right, and then another amazing venom type possessed by things like a boomslang, translated from Afrikaans to English means tree snake, and as well as a vine snake, we refer to this as back-fanged. It's not situated all the way on the back of the jaw, it's almost midway on the jaw. And this is a venom type with this fang structure categorized as hemotoxic, and this affects the blood cells. So basically not allowing the blood to coagulate. So it's quite a nasty thing. And if you take a look at these fangs, it's just a hypodermic needle with actually a canal that runs through the middle. If you take a look at the snake itself, where's my lovely pen? So if this is the actual snake's head, let me just make it a bit bigger. That's its eye. The venom snake. Oh, it's a funny looking snake. That's the fang, just obviously exaggerated. The venom sac will be actually housed underneath the eye, just like that. And you have a tube running into this fang where it's got a groove running down to an opening. And from contracting this muscle over here, which is done, you can obviously administrate or regulate how much venom you want to be administrating. Snakes can also give what they refer to as a dry bite. That's why by law we're actually not allowed to keep anti-venom on site, because snakes can bite you but not administrate any venom. And obviously if we give you the anti-venom, it's obviously not good. That's why it can only be administered by a general practitioner, GP. Very, very important. But just so that you guys have clarity on those venom types along with the dental structure, me talking about front hinged and as well as back, it really doesn't make sense. But seeing it in a little diagram like it, hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. We're still busy waiting for Chelsea Bear, thank you very much for the comment. You are only being nice. I think my drawing is atrocious. That's why I'm a guide and not an artist. But thank you for the wonderful comment. You've made my day. Thank you very much, Chelsea Bear. It's too kind of you. We are still waiting for this cobra. Hopefully it will come out. But by the looks of it, it still has not come out. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Can you punch in a little bit closer, Glenn? Little Kalahari tree skink. We're going to send you off to another location and we will see you later.
We've just had a lovely sighting of him climbing up the tree and going back down again. It looked like he was just a bit nervous to go on such a narrow branch to the kill. Anyway, there he goes. We had parked perfectly correctly, and he decided, nay, he'll go back and say hi to Mum. Maybe he'll go back up again. But as soon as it starts to get a bit dimmer, we're going to leave him, because we don't want to be around here at night. I hope he doesn't have epilepsy, because the flashing from the car behind will definitely result in a fit. sure wild animals can get epilepsy. They probably can, but they probably then don't survive. Anyway, now what's going on there is the burying of the innards, the stomach contents, so as not to attract hyenas. There's Tandy back out. We can now see her bottom. And that's all. And there's little one coming to say hi. She drove the car in there, but we would have been right on top of them if we drive in there now. Very special. I hope I'm not speaking too soon, but it seems to me that Tandy really has become quite a lot more tolerant in her dotage. She hasn't growled once at us. She did growl at one of the vehicles, but very briefly. More cleaning and playing going on, but unfortunately behind a lot of bush. I'm not sure if we're still alive, but our radio seems to have turned off again. Are we still alive? Okay, good, we're still alive. And Paul's watching the radio, so every so often I hear "Deedly 1" in my ear, and then I know that it was off. Great two-shot of the tails. The two-shot tail shot. The two-tail shot. Fantastic. The sun has now sinked. The sky is, well, I'm going to say a spectacular shade of crimson. But there is a hint of crimson on the western horizon as we look at the leopards. So I reckon that this kill will last maybe another 24 hours. By this time tomorrow, I suspect that they will be finished with it and on their way elsewhere. Hopefully here on Juma. There is the kill. Thank you, Paul. We're radio down again, I'm afraid. I don't know if we're live. Jared, are we live? We're still live. Sorry about this, everyone. My radio keeps turning off, and so I don't know if I'm talking to no one or to you. Leopards are still in the same place. They haven't moved. Some spectacular shots being taken there of a dead duiker. No doubt they will adorn the halls, dining rooms and lounges of countless homes in South Africa after this. All right, I think we're going to leave, everybody, because it's getting a bit dark now. I'll try and fix our radios.
Amazing to have such great sightings that you choose to leave a leopard with a cub and a kill. It's quite unbelievable. We've been driving all over these open plains and we came across some more rhino. As you can see, just like those rhino we saw earlier, this mother at least is covered in mud. So you can see they've all been using the same sort of method to keep cool this afternoon. If we look quite sweet, you see there's a little calf on her left. And what's quite sweet to notice is you can see there's a little bit of bird poo on the top of its neck there, just by that very prominent muscle. It's particularly big in white rhino just because they've got very, very heavy heads. So they need a large muscle to keep that head up. You can see it's quite prominent, it shines very white. So I wonder if maybe it was an oxpecker that was sitting on its back and dropped some dung there. Or perhaps even last night when it was lying under a tree or a bush, maybe it got one of the birds, dropped some dung on there. But I think more an oxpecker because it doesn't seem to have splattered too much. So I think it was probably close to the skin at the time. You can see they've joined another rhino. And if we compare the size of this rhino in front to the mother at the back, and we see that there is a bit of a size difference. The one in the front is a little bit smaller. So that is a satellite calf. And what will happen is rhinos, once their mother has given birth, so once they've got a new calf, they will chase the old calf away. This normally happens when they're about 3.5 or so. But it does vary. And then these young calves get a bit nervous by themselves. They often attach themselves to another female with another calf, and we call them satellite calves. It could even be her previous calf before she had this one right in front, and it's just rejoined her. Could be, but we're not too sure. Now what's really interesting is there's a scene unfolding in front of us, because off to the left there seems to be a bull that's moving in. We have a look there. There he is. And you can see his head's down. And he's walking at quite a pace. So I wonder if he's actually picked up the scent of these rhino from a midden. And he's now following their scent to try and find where they are. And it can be quite an interesting interaction between the males and the females, because the males aren't always so well received, especially by the calves. In fact, the calves often protect the mother. Especially in this case, because this female is not an estrus, so she's not going to be driven to mate with this male. She can't go into estrus with such a young calf. So it could be quite an interesting interaction. It's going to be, you see how he's slowing down now. He's seen them, and he's now going to proceed with a bit of caution. He's actually, he's running straight towards it, and just going to try and stay quiet and hear if we can hear these huffing and puffing from the rhino. See how the male is backing off, and the calf has actually gone right in front of the mother and is walking straight up to him. That calf is so brave. Look at that. He goes straight up to the male. The female is quite content. She's just carrying on feeding. Oh, and there's a secretary bird that just landed in the background. Look at that. There's a secretary bird right there. This is quite unbelievable. Amazing how they're just carrying on feeding as if nothing happened. I think they're just watching his behavior. The fact that he was quite submissive when they came face to face and backed off quite quickly and then started feeding again. It's made them relax. I think what they're doing is they're keeping their eyes on them. You can see how they are sort of still angled to the side, so they've got him in a peripheral vision. And he's now just got some zebra running into the hill. You can see them all on the hill there. It's amazing what you can stumble across and how it can just turn into the most beautiful scene and unfold right in front of your eyes. There's a wildebeest in the background now as well. This is one of those, what we like to call a Pinder magic moment. I mean, you just sit and watch animals, and it's such a picturesque scene, you almost can't describe it. You know, the clouds have got this pink hue on them from the sunset. It really is quite serene. Now what will happen generally is that if the male feels that the female is an estrus, now he shouldn't have gotten a scent of estrus, like I said, but it's unusual that he did seem to follow a scent right here, because you know, that female having such a young calf, she can't be an estrus, and that satellite calf that joined her shouldn't have gone into estrus yet either. She's a little bit too young. But this sort of behavior of the male starting to feed is often what males do when they want to mate with a female. So they start trying to court them. So they feed a little bit close, and they'll slowly get closer and closer until the female shows she's uncomfortable, and then they start feeding again. And then they slowly get closer and closer, and they can do that over a period of weeks. And I have actually seen a male rhino try and mate with a female with a calf about the same age, so it's not impossible that he is actually trying to court her, and she might let him mate with her at one stage if he courts her successfully. But it is quite an interesting mating technique of rhino, very different to other animals, and with the whole courting process, and the fact that the mating does often only occur once after, you know, a period of a few weeks of mating, of courting, sorry, and it will last sometimes about a half an hour, and then the male will carry on and maybe find another female in estrus and start the whole process over again. It's amazing as well as how relaxed these rhinos are in this, you know, very strong wind. Because normally in the wind they do tend to go a more thicker area, just to block out a bit of the wind so they can hear and smell a little bit better. As we've discussed quite a few times, their eyesight's not the best. What's lovely to see is you can see how all the animals are sort of congregating together, and especially at night, that's a survival technique. They'll go out into the open and they'll try and stick with as many other animals as possible. And you can imagine there's quite a clear reason why, because the more eyes, the more ears, the more senses out there, the better chance they have of spotting a predator in time. And apart from anything else, also it's just less chance that they get targeted as the potential prey. You know, if there's a whole lot of wildebeest and zebra and other animals around, maybe a predator will choose one of them instead of them, and they will live to see another day. So it's quite a common strategy amongst animals, especially, as I say, to be coming into the evening when the nocturnal animals, like we just saw at Djuma, that leopard, are going to start getting a bit more active. I think my call's dropped. So what I can see is that these rhinos are actually slowly starting to walk towards the road. You actually see them poking their heads out of a bush, and hopefully they're going to come out into the open. But I think what we'll do is we'll carry on because it's starting to get a little bit dark, and we'll leave them to their feeding.
Righty, we've left our kitties and that's because it was getting dark. And so now we will be searching for creatures of the evening. Whatever creatures of the evening might pitch up. Perhaps like another leopard. Or some lions. So those lions, it turns out, ended up on not elephant plains, on Simbambili. We didn't find their tracks this morning on our walk, but they must have walked onto the northern boundary and across. So we'll go and have a look for them tomorrow maybe, and certainly we'll go and see if we can find some sign of Shidulu's babies. That would be very special. If she's got babies. We don't know, we think. Otherwise, everything is pretty quiet out here. We went back past the elephants we had. Now we'll just head off and do a little foray towards the west in the last 20 minutes and see if anything hasn't turned up there during the course of the day. So little activity on this reserve this morning is quite nice. It all feels quite fresh and mysterious. But I got to tell you, when I saw those two leopards walking along the road, I've been down that road literally thousands of times over the last little while, and hoped to see Thandi on it with that cub. Finally. Such a joyful experience. We'll just go to the next junction and then we'll have a listen to the sounds of the night, or the coming night. The cicadas buzzing their heads off, or their abdomens off. It's not their heads, of course, it's their abdomens. Maybe the old robin and a couple of drongos, I bet. All right, no, we won't do that. We'll do that next time.
Well, good people. We're still on the road. We haven't given up, but nature has provided a lot of grazers and browsers for us, but no cats at all. But we're still searching. I went looking for Romy, but she wasn't there. She wasn't home. I don't know where she is. The female lionesses, haven't seen any. The female lioness and the male that was mating this morning, haven't seen any. So over here, as usual, sometimes nature dictates what it wants to do and provide, and I agree totally to it. But I'm still looking. This is the area where they normally hang around, but there is zero, not even eyes of a scrub hare. Maybe I chose the wrong spot today, but I haven't given up. But it's very cool. The temperature has sort of dropped slightly, so I'm putting on my jacket. And everything is nice. The air is beautiful and fresh. No rain tonight. Even the elephants have moved towards the escarpment, so I'm heading towards the escarpment now. See if I can find something before we end the show. But it's beautiful and I'm enjoying myself. It's part of nature and I have to live with it, and I've learned to live with it. So I'm gonna continue further up. I'll catch you up the road. Let's take you to another live safari vehicle.
And that is the most important thing. If the guide is enjoying himself, then the people on board are enjoying themselves too. Welcome back to Tswalu Kalahari. I think it was my drawing that must have deterred the snake, even though there were wonderful comments. But I think the snake took a look and it said, no, not gonna work. We're just enjoying the view coming through the dune systems here. And that light is just playing spectacularly on the grass, making it glow, this beautiful yellow, glowy, golden glow. But really beautiful just to appreciate while en route through the dune systems. Once again, we're saying goodbye to that lovely star setting in the horizon. It's not that far, only 150 million kilometers. So it's done its job for today, and we really appreciate that. Incredible. It's just about to start kissing the dune. And if you think about the light, I mean, that light has been traveling a little distance to get to us. Obviously, the speed that it travels, it doesn't take that long for the rays to actually hit Earth. Wildebeest. Oh, there's a wildebeest. Oh, he's on the move. I think he's on the move because of us. Looks like a bull. He's by himself. He's hiding, Glenn. Beautiful black-chested prinia calling here behind us. Tick, 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 tick. Male and female. Lovely. But what an exciting afternoon it's been. We're going to send you off to another location.
So we're here in the Mara, tracking these two lions that seems like this is a mating pair. Unfortunately, this male here is limping, so he can't keep up the pace with the lioness. This lioness is from the Mogoro Pride. I can hear him growling a little bit, so I'm just following them closely to see where they're up to. So the lioness at the front seems like she's on a mission. I don't know where she's going to, so we're just going to follow them slowly. Look at how he's limping. Could be she wants to go to locate the other pride members. He's struggling to keep up the pace, actually. He's big, he's heavy, he's limping. The lion is a little bit swift because of her body size and weight. Look at how fast she's moving there. Or maybe she wants to go on a hunt, because where she's heading is where we saw the big herd of wildebeest when we started the show. So it seems like she's heading that direction. And that shows that she's on a mission to hunt, where this male limping wants to catch up, but unfortunately he's a little bit in pain. So I'm just going to follow them slowly and see what's going to happen. I'm suspecting this is a mating pair because of how he was growling at her. He didn't want her to walk away. He can't really walk on 3 legs because he's walking fast and a long distance away is heavy. So actually, if he has to, it'd be just on a very slow pace, but not at the moment. Not at the moment. So most lions will be nocturnal. They'll be walking out at night. We tried in the afternoon to locate other lions, but we couldn't. So this is the best time for lions to be active because it's cooler and at least they can see much better. So I'm going to keep on following these lions as we take you over to another safari vehicle.
So we've just left those rhino you're watching just now. And we said here's the time that nocturnal animals are going to start getting active. So from those lions you were just watching in the Masai Mara to this lioness that we just stumbled across right in the open plains. We had no idea that she was so close by. She is walking with quite a purpose, moving through all of these bushes, trying to possibly hunt this evening. So I think what we're going to do, I'd like to... Oh, look, there's actually some rhino right behind us, walking straight towards us. I'm going to just try and quickly reposition to have a look at them. And then we're going to try and see if we can keep up with this lioness. JP, that lioness looks like she's from our Bayala Pride. They're a pride that's in the southern end of our reserve, one of two, and there are three main lionesses. Now, the fact that she's alone, I think she's the one without cubs. There is another lioness with three sort of sub-adult cubs that are about maybe a year and a half, and then there's another one with some smaller cubs that are probably closer to 7 months. Ooh. Just wanted to show these two rhino that came walking straight towards us. It's amazing what can happen when you're sitting watching one thing and then other animals come straight towards you. It seems to be quite a rhino day for us. It's really beautiful having these grey coats against the really grey cloudy background. And what you can see, that one's lifting its nose. It can smell us. The wind is blowing straight towards it, so it's picking up our scent. They do get used to the scent of the vehicles. You know, we smell quite different on a vehicle than we do on foot because our scent is now mixed in with diesel and canvas and a whole lot of other things. Amazing that they can get so close to a vehicle and just feel so comfortable around us. Wonderful to see. You can see that one is actually trying to feed on the grass right below the other one's feet. Almost as if there's no better grass than right there. I'm just trying to get a sense of what the gender of these rhinos are, because I know, generally a pair like this, what you would assume is that it was two females together, because they do sort of act a bit more relaxed with each other. And then the males, a territorial male won't allow another male to be so close to it. And then if it was with a female, then you would also see that they would probably not be this close. Difficult to see in this light. I'll try and get a better view. Might just be two out there as a male on the left. I think it's two submissive males. So two non-territorial males at the moment. Look, let's go and try and catch up with that lioness and see what she's up to.
Our Olympic lion has not kept up the pace, so he's given up. He's lying down. Interestingly, there's another male lion that joined in and chased over the lioness. So look at how he's just staring over helplessly because he's limping, tried running, but the other male, Kobe, his brother, came to join. So they walked into the bushes. Unfortunately, we can't really see where they've gone to. Poor lion. He has to wait until he gets better to follow up or to keep up. Just listen to how he's breathing and the croaks. And the frogs croaking out there. Beautiful sound, beautiful sound. So I'm sure he's going to join them, but they've walked in the forest line there, and I think that other male will not welcome him. Could be he was fought off, or not quite sure why he's limping, but seems like that might be a good guess if I'm asked. So quiet. So if I shine my torch, I can actually see the lions in the distance. And one of the male is guarding actually the lioness. Thank you for your question. That's the African reed frogs. The reed frogs are the ones that are croaking. We are actually next to a swamp, not just a few meters here, and those are the reed frogs calling. So a good time for this lion's activity, or maybe they might join off the lionesses that were eating, who knows. But he's not going to take off his eyes from the lioness that went into the bushes. But as you sit here, watch this lion. Let's take you over to another safari vehicle. This lion looks like he's a little bit tired, or maybe because he's limping, maybe he might be in pain. But they don't always show that they feel pain, but you can see when they're walking, or maybe when an animal is wounded, you can only see the signs as they're walking. But I'm sure they have feelings, they also feel pain. But look at him, he's still staring that direction where that lioness went to. The wind is blowing to his direction, so you can pick the scent easily. Normally you hear them roar at this time, so it would be nice if he just makes a contact call where he would roar and the other lion would respond. But it seems because the lioness was running away, I'm not quite sure if he's going to make a contact call. He has some scratches on his face, could be from the blows and fight with the lioness. I can see the other lions running away. Unfortunately, we can't really see from here. Our infrared does not get that far. He's still watching, he's still concentrating on that direction. Look at his head. So thank you once again for watching. Thanks again for joining us this afternoon. We've had very nice interactions, seen lions, leopard, seen lots of big herds of wildebeest. See you again tomorrow morning for another interactive session of our Safari Live coming from the African wilderness. It will be a delight and to have more questions and comments. So thank you so much. Looking forward for tomorrow and more questions and comments.
It's the most incredible feeling to be here. This is live.
Live.
Wild Earth takes you on daily intimate experiences in nature live.
This is a very, very different adventure, charged with emotion.
Join expert guides as they search for Africa's most iconic animals.